Hi all. Today we're talking about one of our favorite plants here in St. Petersburg, Florida that we like to talk about. So if you haven't seen our videos before, I'm Bob and
I'm Renee.
that's Renee, and we are the Tradition School of Herbal Studies. Make sure that you subscribe below. If you like the video, feel free to leave a comment or ask a question. You can learn more about us at traditionsherbschool.com or acuherbals.com. If you're interested in some of our clinical aspects, check out all of our upcoming classes. We do evenings and weekends, both online and in person. So, hey Renee, today we're talking about Spanish needles.
So what Bob is talking about are these beautiful flowers here. One thing that you'll always get with us is we really are big on bioregionalism, and what that means are the plants that are around you and supporting you know best what's happening to your body. And so one of the ones we like to talk about is what's called Biden's alba. Now I will encourage you that all Bidens are correct, but we're going to look at Biden's alba, and it's right here. Lots of names that go with it. It could be Spanish needle or Indian razor or Beggars Tick or all kinds of different things. We just call it Biden's. We have to be very careful when we're texting about it because people think that it's political, like President Biden, but it's not. So make sure you put alba in there so you don't get flagged on one of the social media sites.
That really did happen, folks.
It did. And
we were banned for 3 days until they figured out we were talking about plants,
yes,
and that they needed to brush up on their Latin just a smidge.
Very funny. So I'm going to break off a piece of the seed pod. It's important in identifying it so it's not a mistake. So Bob likes to talk about just a little bit of botany goes a long way. And what we're looking at is bidens. So we're going to show you with my fingers and the seed that it's going to be one stalk that comes up with 2 flares on it. So it's going to be 2 tooths, two dents, like dental. And so that's one of the ways that we can identify it.
And as I was going to say, it's the little 2-pronged sticky thing that gets caught in your socks and your pant legs if you go walking around here.
Absolutely.
And
so would you like to?
No, go ahead.
So I grew up with this. This is one of my first herbal memories. I'm a registered herbalist with the American Herbalist Guild. And in doing that, you have to kind of do like a bio. And one of the questions is like, what was your first herbal memory? And when I was a very, very small child, a baby, like a walking around toddler, I remember my grandfather chewing this up and spitting it on me when I got a bee sting. We kept bees, we were farmers. And it immediately helped to settle that down. But the other thing I remember about it is it's my food. I grew up with eating it just like salad or in my soups or making pesto with it. So super nourishing, as nourishing as spinach, but without the oxalates. Those are the things that can build up and cause kidney stones. So we would just eat it, just like salad, like just eat it, no big deal. Here in Florida, it's really important because it's one of our best pollinators. And from a standpoint of medicine, it's second to none. So him putting it on my bee sting, it would be anything that was hot and juicy and aggravating and angry. So moist and hot. So think about the things in our life that are moist and hot. A terrible respiratory infection is moist and hot. A sore nose that's running all the time. Pink eye, a cut that was pussy, an ant bite. So it's just a yes here. We live in a swamp.
You know, it's funny. I remember it was about 5 or 6 years ago. We were doing an herb walk for some pharmacist students at the local pharmacy school. And these folks hadn't seen the light of day in many, many years. They were working hard for their PhD.
Students.
They were. And why they asked us, and we had them select a location so we could talk about plants. And they were what we call city meat. And they took us into a saltwater mangrove swamp,
not knowing
any better. And it was the middle of summer, and the mosquitoes, well, you could put a saddle on them and ride them around the swamps there. And they were getting welts bigger than $50. And I remember that one of them was like pointing at her welts, and just as we were talking about this,
like huge.
And we were talking about the Spanish, the Biden's alba, and so we were like, here, and we grabbed some up, and I don't remember whether I chewed it up or we just mashed it up.
Horrifying to normal people,
right?
Bob would
Especially medical professionals.
Yes, they were not happy.
And we said, here, put that on there, and she put it on, and she only covered half of the mosquito bite. There was now probably over a quarter an inch.
And she just held it with her hand,
yep,
right where her hand was.
And we finished talking about it and all the things that we like to use it for. And we were like, well, I don't know, let's see if it did anything. And what happened was where she had this Biden's. It was completely normal, no longer red or raised, it wasn't itching, but there was like maybe a quarter of an inch of it that she didn't cover that was still swollen up, the skin tight, painful, red, itchy. It was dramatic that within 2 or 3 minutes that we had completely changed this histamine response of our body, swelling that up from a single mosquito bite. And there was many oohs and ahs that day from
it was
these
like
medical
magic to them.
professionals. Yeah.
So let's think of it like our nettles, like our antihistamine, our Spanish needles are antihistamine here, and so it would know what was going on. Bob has another story that and then we've played it out over time, where it's really good for that nagging cough that comes after a cold, like the fever's gone, all the yucky's gone, but you still have a little bit of a nasal drip and you're like cough, cough, cough. Also, it's used in Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine as a refrigerant. It would be something that we would make to cool us down in the summer, or to again put on something that was hot, like a fever.
I was going to say it definitely has an affinity to the lungs for any kind of issue, an infective disorder, but I found that it was absolutely magical for that lingering cough after a cold and flu where it was clear white phlegm, so not an active infection, that a teaspoon to a tablespoon eaten fresh would, within 15 minutes and frequently less time, it makes it go away with a single dosage. And it was funny, I was reading recently on one of the herbal forums, I don't remember which, where people were saying, no, it's better to make an infusion, a tea out of it, than it was to eat it. And I didn't bother to, everybody's open to their opinion, but I was getting all the herb, not just the water-soluble constituents out of it, and I was getting this very strong taste that really doesn't come out in an infusion.
I do actually have something to say about that, and I'm really known for causing controversy, and I don't mind at all. I have lived here, and my family has lived here for a couple hundred years, and this is something that has kept them alive as just something we would eat, as well as taking care of the bees. And our experience tells us otherwise. Most of the time when those people are saying that, it does not even grow in their area, or they're coming off of research that was just in a book or in a test tube somewhere, where I have seen a family history of this. Plus, Bob and I have run a clinic for many, many years, and we see many, many, many clients, and we use it in this way and have great success, all the way from food to an infusion to a tincture and formula.
And not to say you can't, and infusions
Absolutely.
work great. I've used it for,
but it's not the only thing.
Yeah, I've used it for a 2-year-old. It was more convenient to get them to drink a tea than it was trying to eat a bitter plant. Tinctures, we've definitely tinctured this and had success, but I still find that the fresh plant is my most effective medicine on this and the fastest working. And I think because of the strong taste, because taste has an impact on the medicine, it changes the way our digestive system responds. And one that I won't say I regularly use this for that, but I've definitely helped, especially when there are respiratory or urinary tract issues, is with chronic Lyme disease.
I agree. Like all respiratory, definitely all UTI. I mean, for me, it's bigger than that because it was like a folk remedy, so that it would be used constantly. Plus, it was our food. So anything hot and wet, like that's the way to think about it. But Bob said something that was really important. He said he's used this on 2-year-olds, and so that is a huge flag of go, that you can have this, you can use this, if you can learn to identify it, that it's something that is this screaming, like, here, I'm here to help you. All things damp and hot, animal wash, hot spots, rashes on skins, cleaning out a cut, an ophthalmic, anything that is damp and hot. This is a yes to just eating it with a tea as a wash.
And it is a Chinese herb as well. This is in your Medica, both Bensky and Chen, and I'm sure others. Xian Feng Cao, although it has a couple of names, you can usually look it up by its Latin name, Biden's alba or Biden's pilosa. Any of the Biden's species is used similarly. And I remember the commentary in there, and I've used this sometimes to put in a cooling, as Renee said, a refrigerant. But in southern China in the summertime, this was always consumed as just a summertime tea to help them cool off and handle it. But also when we look at the Chinese, there's research on it for leukemia, malaria, and a number of other chronic viral as well as spirochete and bacterial infections.
I will say that Bob is correct, that this is a heavy hitter. It doesn't seem like it because it's a food, but it's a heavy hitter for us. And again, in practice, when you see it happen over and over, and the dosages can go so high because it is food, that heavy hitters for all kinds of issues that are just not not doable with the other herbs. It's something that we can give to almost anybody, regardless of their condition.
So Spanish needle, Beggars Tick, Biden's spa, Biden's alba, Biden's pelosa, Bipanetta, blah 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 blah. This is Renee. I'm Bob,
Nice to see you.
and we are the Tradition School of Herbal Studies. We hope that you subscribe to our channel. Please share it with all your friends. Check out all of our exciting classes at traditionsherbschool.com and our clinical practice at acuherbals.com. We're online and in person, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!